Hello and welcome to Today in History for February 10th. I'm Michael Powell. On February 10th of 1962, I was in West Berlin. And at the same time, the American spy pilot Francis Gary Powers was released by the Soviets in exchange for a Soviet Colonel Rudolf Abel, a senior KGB spy who was caught in the United States 5 years earlier. The two men were brought to separate sides of the Glienicke Bridge, which connects East and West Berlin across Lake Wannsee. As the spies waited, negotiators talked in the center of the bridge, where a white line divided east from west. Finally, Powers and Abel were waved forward and crossed the border into freedom, and at that same moment, 8:52 a.m., Berlin time, just before their transfer, Frederick Prien, American student held by East German authorities since August of '61, was released to American authorities at another border checkpoint. During the Cold War, Soviet spies worked together in the United States without revealing their names or addresses to each other, and it was a precaution in the event that one was caught or defected. Rudolf Abel, a brilliant Soviet spy who was fluent in at least 5 languages, and an expert at technical requirements of espionage. After decorated service as an intelligence operative during World War II, Abel assumed a false identity and entered East German refugee camp, where he successfully applied for the right to immigrate to Canada. In 1948, he slipped across the Canadian border into the United States, where he set about reorganizing the Soviet spy network. After learning of another spy's defection, Abel fled to Florida, where he remained underground until June, when he felt it was safe to return to New York. On June 21st of 1957, he was arrested in Manhattan's Latham Hotel. In his studio, FBI investigators found a hollow pencil used for concealing messages, a shaving brush containing microfilm, a code book, and radio transmitting equipment. He was tried in a federal court in Brooklyn in October and was found guilty of 3 counts of espionage and sentenced to 30 years of imprisonment. He was sent to a federal penitentiary in Atlanta, Georgia. Less than 3 years later, on May 1st of 1960, Francis Gary Powers took off from Pakistan at the controls of the ultra-sophisticated Lockheed U-2 high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft. Powers, a CIA-employed pilot, was to fly over some 2,000 miles of Soviet territory to Bodo Military Airfield in Norway, collecting intelligence information en route. Roughly halfway through his journey, he was shot down over the Ural Mountains. Forced to bail out at 15,000 feet, he survived the parachute jump, but was promptly arrested by Soviet authorities. On May 5th, Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev announced that the American spy aircraft had been shot down, and 2 days later he revealed that Powers was alive and well and had confessed to being on an intelligence mission for the CIA. On May 7th, the United States acknowledged that the U-2 had probably flown over Soviet territory, but denied that it had authorized the mission. In August, Powers pled guilty to espionage charges in Moscow and was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment, 3 in prison and 7 in a prison colony. At the end of his 1957 trial, Rudolf Abel escaped the death penalty when his lawyer, James Donovan, convinced a federal judge that Abel might one day be used to either as a source of intelligence information or as a hostage to be traded for the Soviets for captured U.S. agents. In his 5 years in prison, Abel kept his silence, but the latter prophecy came true in 1962 when he was exchanged for Powers in Berlin. Donovan had played an important role in the negotiations that led to the swap. Upon returning to the United States, Powers was cleared by the CIA and the Senate of any personal blame for the U-2 incident. In 1970, he published a book, Operation Overflight about the incident, and in 1977, he was killed in the crash of a helicopter that he flew as a reporter for the Los Angeles television station. Abel returned to Moscow, where he was forced into retirement by the KGB, who feared that during his 5 years of captivity in the U.S., authorities might have convinced him to become a double agent. He was given a modest pension and in 1968 published KGB-approved memoirs. He died in 1971. And that's that story. As I say, I was in Berlin at the time because my father was stationed in France, and my high school choir was invited to compete in a competition in Berlin. So I remember this incident well. And that's today in history. Come back again tomorrow, won't you? Till then, let's see what YouTube's going to offer you.